Hello, YouTube. Today I want to speak to you all about Cramps, championships, and some NBA trade rumors. It's just going to be a short NBA episode. All right, so first, the talk of the town, the talk around the water cooler today, of course, at the Game 1 of the NBA Finals, is LeBron and his cramping and the temperature in the AT&T Center. I believe it is in San Antonio. Excuse me if I'm wrong. I didn't do any research before I made this video. Everybody's talking about LeBron and how Jordan played through the flu, how Willis Reed came back from his injury in the finals, and how LeBron's not great because he didn't play through cramps. And I just think that's ignorant. And I think, like Charles Barkley says all the time, in the time of the internet and everybody having their own sports blog, everybody having their own YouTube channel where they can say what they want. Everybody's a journalist now and everybody's an expert. And I think it's stupid when you see these members of their 1983 All-City Pop Warner football team, they feel like that makes them as qualified to say the limits of an athlete of a 6'9", 275, even though he's listed as 245, 255, whatever he's listed as, athlete in 2014. It doesn't correlate to me. You cannot say what LeBron can and what LeBron can't do, the limitations of his body, and you can't say, oh, he should be able to play through it or whatever because it's the NBA Finals. Everybody in the world that was watching that game knew LeBron wanted to get back in the game. He tried to put himself back in the game with 3.5 minutes left before Spoelstra said, no, sit back down. And it's ridiculous to me to think that, these people are like, oh, if it was me, I'll get back in. Do you realize it can be you? That's impossible because you don't have the physical qualities or talent to be in the NBA. That's why you're sitting from the couch watching, criticizing on your little Twitter or on your smartphones. It's easy to talk from the other side of the screen. That's all I'm going to say about it. But if you were in LeBron James' shoes, you would have been crying. You would have been, cramp. A lot of you people have cramps or whatever, and you sit and cry in a bed for the rest of the day. The same people that say, oh, LeBron should be able to finish a 48-minute NBA Finals. No, come on now. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's all I got to say, America. All right, and for championships, for the finals, going into the entire playoffs, I had the Miami Heat and the OKC Thunder, and I had that going to 7 games with Miami winning for the three-peat. So I would stick by that for the finals, but they're playing San Antonio, and it's hard to see after having such a letdown in Game 6, being one Manu Ginobili free throw away from winning it all, to blowing that and blowing Game 7. I think it's really difficult to see San Antonio blowing it 2 years in a row. But I got to stick by my pick, so I'm going to pick Miami in 7 over San Antonio, just like I said they were going to do before the entire playoffs started with OKC. So, yeah, playoff bracket was pretty busted this season and whatever. So we're going to move on to the last topic, trade rumors. Everybody's talking about Kevin Love and Carmelo Anthony. Kevin Love is expected to be a free agent next year. Carmelo Anthony is expected to be a free agent this summer. And everybody's talking about where they're going and possible trade options and stuff. But when you think about the name and the trade value of these guys, you're going to have to give up a lot for them, in my opinion. And if you're giving up so much for these players, for a Carmelo and a Kevin Love, you're not going to have that many pieces to make your team better, essentially, because you gave up so much to get these players. And to be honest, neither one of these players are going to win you a championship. And that's all people care about. Everybody's chasing to become that big 3 Miami Heat model. And if Kevin Love goes to the Lakers, they're not winning the championship next season. I don't care who they get. They're not winning the championship next season if they get Kevin Love, because the amount they're going to have to give up with the few players they already had, the lack of depth, is ridiculous to think that they're going to win the championship. If Kevin Love goes to the Boston Celtics, The Celtics aren't winning the championship. Maybe they can, in a few years, build around Rondo and Kevin Love and keep making the lottery or keep trading for trying to get some draft picks and build through the draft and build around those guys. But Boston is not going to win the championship. Chicago, they're not going to win the championship with Kevin Love. I mean, come on now, let's be real. Talking about a crowded front court of Noah and Kevin Love, or you're just talking about Kevin Love, no Taj Gibson, because Taj Gibson is going to have to be in the trade if you go to Chicago, unless Chicago just makes Minnesota look foolish. And you also have for Carmelo, if Carmelo goes to Chicago, they're not winning the championship. Derrick Rose is not reliable to stay healthy. And Joakim Noah and Carmelo is not enough for a championship. Joakim Noah and Melo sounds an awful like Tyson Chandler, Amari Stoudemire, and Melo. How'd that work out? So, yeah, pretty much it's like if Carmelo goes to the Lakers, I still don't see a championship. If the Lakers get Carmelo and Kevin Love and Kobe comes back for a healthy 2 final seasons, I still don't see the Lakers winning the NBA championship because of depth and chemistry and the rest of that. Carmelo's going to have to take a lot of shots. So is Kobe Bryant. Kevin Love is a stat stuffer. And when you look at chemistry and all that, that reminds me a lot of with the Lakers. But the Lakers are the perfect example for this because they had 2 examples of why, chemistry and all that good stuff and shots and amount of shots was important with the team, not just talent. Because look at 2004 with Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Shaq, Kobe, Derek Fisher, all those guys, and they were fighting through half the season. They still made it to the finals, but they didn't win because they didn't have the chemistry. They didn't have the thing that they needed. And also, just going back to a couple years ago when they had Steve Nash and Dwight and Gasol and Metta World Peace when he was still relatively good, and Kobe, they had that starting lineup, the highest paid starting lineup in the league. But coming off the bench, who they have? They had Jordan Hill, who is a decent player. I like Jordan Hill, but come on now. You need depth in NBA. And if you're one of these teams like a Boston or a Cleveland or a LA, and you're looking to win a championship, trading for one of these guys, in my opinion, is not going to get you a championship because you're going to have to give up so many of your few pieces already, and you're going to have you might have a stacked first unit, but the rest of your team is going to be garbage. Therefore, your results are going to be garbage. You're going to see what Kevin Love has done in Minnesota, with all due respect to Kevin Love, and what Carmelo has done in New York up to this point, which is essentially nothing. Carmelo, second round, first round appearances around the right team. But as you saw last season, when he was the only guy, when he was the guy, no playoffs. And then this Kevin Love obviously has yet to make the playoffs in the West. So that just shows you with Ricky Rubio and a couple other young studs in Minnesota. So it's just like you have to be smart and you have to think about why these guys on the trading block and why do they want to go to a new team in the first place. All right, that's all I got to say. Enjoy your finals and everything else. I'm out.